All right, let's dive into The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh, a classic.
It really is. It's been captivating audiences for generations.
Then we're going to figure out why.
Yeah.
Using all this material you sent over.
You have amazing taste, by the way.
Thank you.
Seriously. So it works on so many levels, right? Visually, the story, those characters.
It's timeless. Really taps into something universal, I think. Like that yearning for something more, that journey we all go through, figuring ourselves out.
Totally. Okay, so Kansas.
Yeah.
Where it all begins.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that always gets me is that Dorothy, she's 16.
Oh, right. Not a little girl, like some picture.
Exactly. Kind of changes how you see her whole, journey, doesn't it?
Definitely adds a layer of complexity to her character.
What?
Not just a kid swept away, but she's almost an adult dealing with real stuff.
Yeah.
The threat to Toto, running away. Those actions hit different when you realize she's old enough to get the consequences.
Right. And that whole Miss Gulch situation. She's like the ultimate overbearing adult.
Oh, for sure.
Dorothy can't reason with her, feels totally powerless. No wonder she takes off.
Makes sense. And then there's Professor Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
That perfect bridge between Kansas and Oz. Almost like a proto-wizard, right? Planting those seeds of fantasy. And that physical resemblance, it's uncanny. Makes you think, is Dorothy's mind already creating Oz before she even gets there?
Whoa, okay. That's interesting.
Subconscious stuff.
But let's talk about that visual shift, though.
Yeah.
Sepia-toned Kansas to, bam, a vibrant Oz.
Yes.
Still breathtaking. Even after all these years, 1939, that was groundbreaking.
Oh, absolutely. Masterful filmmaking. That color change, it's not just pretty, it's purposeful, you know? Underscores the difference between Dorothy's normal life and this fantastical world she lands in.
Like a visual escape to a dream.
Precisely. And dreams, they often amplify our everyday anxieties, desires. Which brings us to those iconic characters Dorothy meets on the Yellow Brick Road.
The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion.
Each one wanting something so basic, so human, right? A brain, a heart, courage.
Who hasn't felt like they're lacking one of those at some point?
Exactly. But here's the thing. They kind of mirror the farmhands back in Kansas, right? Hunk, Hickory, and Zeke. Like, Oz isn't just random, it's Dorothy's world, but twisted.
Hey, hold on. Are you saying, the Scarecrow wanting a brain is Dorothy projecting her own insecurities about being smart enough?
Could be. And it makes the whole journey richer. Because it's not just escaping reality, it's facing your inner demons, but in this fantastical way.
Okay, that's deep.
Layers.
So we've got Dorothy and her crew, all with their own baggage, heading down this yellow brick road.
Right.
But let's not forget the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, she is a force of nature.
Oh, yeah. Such a memorable villain. Everyone remembers her.
Pure revenge, right? Driven by her sister's death, gotta get those ruby slippers.
And those attempts to stop Dorothy, the flying monkeys, the apple trees, the poppy field.
Relentless. You gotta kind of admire the dedication, evil as it is.
Oh, totally. But that melting scene, though, come on.
Iconic.
Pure cinematic history. Special effects for that time. The witch just dissolving. Stuck with me since childhood.
It's iconic for a reason. Terrifying, visually captivating. And ironic, isn't it? This powerful witch, undone by water,
Yeah.
reminds us even the biggest obstacles have weaknesses. Maybe our own fears aren't as invincible as they seem either.
All right, but we got to talk about the man behind the curtain, the wizard.
Oh, yes.
That buildup is incredible, this all-powerful being with all the answers.
The booming voice, the smoke, the fire, pure spectacle. But then Toto pulls back the curtain.
And there he is, just an ordinary dude.
Such a great subversion of expectations. Really says something about authority, illusion of power.
A humbug, like they say in the film.
Right. But even though he's not what they hoped for, he still helps them in his own way.
That's true.
He helps them by revealing they already had what they sought. Scarecrow gets a diploma, Lion gets a medal, Tin Man, a heart-shaped clock.
It's all symbolic, huh?
Exactly. The journey was what mattered. And believing in yourself. Way more powerful than someone else's validation.
Wow. Never thought about it that way.
It's like he forces them to look inward.
So are you saying Dorothy's friends, maybe even Dorothy, were holding themselves back this whole time?
That's the question, isn't it? Maybe they needed the experience to realize their potential.
Mind blown. Okay, so humbug wizard, powerful witch, and Dorothy with her companions figuring things out as they go. This really is a journey of self-discovery.
It is.
But where does the wizard fit into all this? He's from Kansas too, right?
It is. Ended up in Oz by accident, hot air balloon, the whole deal.
Just like Dorothy.
It's exactly. Yearning to go back home makes his character more complex, shows that even those who seem powerful can feel lost, uncertain.
That's a great point. You know what? I'm starting to think The Wizard of Oz isn't just a children's film. It's speaking to something deeper in all of us.
I'd agree.
This desire for something more, searching for meaning, trying to find our place. It's like Dorothy's journey is a metaphor for life itself.
It is, and that's why it resonates, why it's endured. It taps into those universal truths about being human.
The journey matters more than the destination, and we have the power to change our lives.
Exactly.
Okay, I need a minute to process all this. Let's take a quick break and then dive back into Oz. This is getting insightful.
Agreed. There's so much more to unpack. It's amazing how The Wizard of Oz is this fantastical escape, but also like a deeply personal story at the same time.
Right. Witches, flying monkeys, but it's all grounded in real emotions, you know?
I think that's the key to its appeal, really. Works for everyone.
Totally agree. And those themes, like home and self-discovery, they're woven through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not just Dorothy literally going back to Kansas. It's about belonging, figuring out who you are.
Exactly. And it's not just by chance either. She has to choose it.
Right.
Reject the comfort, the illusion of Oz. That's a powerful message about taking control of your own life.
It really is. Like when Glinda tells Dorothy she's always had the power to go home.
Oh, that's
Light bulb moment, right? Like, oh, I've been holding myself back.
It's brilliant. All about self-belief. Not magic, but recognizing your own strength.
We often have the power. We just got to believe it.
Exactly.
You know, we've been getting kind of deep here.
Yeah.
But we can't talk Wizard of Oz without the music.
Of course.
I mean, Over the Rainbow alone, instant classic.
Oh, absolutely. And we're off to see the wizard. Ding dong, the witch is dead. So iconic, part of our culture.
You hear those tunes, you instantly know.
They're woven into the story. You can't separate them.
Speaking of the story, Dorothy's journey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right?
No, definitely not.
She faces real danger.
Constant threat of the witch, for one.
Oh, for sure.
But even beyond that, there are these moments, like the poppy field.
Oh, yeah.
Visually stunning, but it represents something, right? That
Yeah.
temptation to just escape, forget your purpose.
Wow, never thought about it like that.
It's a warning, I think.
Against getting too comfy in Fantasyland.
Right, and then there's the scene where the scarecrow's set on fire.
Oh, man, I remember that.
Shocking, especially for a kid's film.
It was scary. But it showed the stakes, you know?
Yeah.
This wasn't just a fun trip. There was real evil to fight.
Exactly. Even in fairy tales, there's darkness. Overcoming that is what makes Dorothy's journey so meaningful.
Wouldn't be as impactful if she just waltzed through Oz.
Exactly. So we've got this incredible story, music, visuals. But what about the people who made it happen?
Judy Garland as Dorothy, she's unforgettable.
Legendary performance, innocence, vulnerability, but that growing strength too.
And her singing, Over the Rainbow, wouldn't be the same.
That longing, that hope, chills every time.
But the rest of the cast, too, got to give them credit.
Oh, absolutely. Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, perfect casting.
That's it.
Ray Bolger, Jack Haley, Burt Lahr. Charisma, humor. You believe they need a brain, a heart, courage.
Can't imagine anyone else in those roles.
And Margaret Hamilton.
The-
Witchy.
well,
Steals every scene.
terrifying. That green skin, the cackle, the hat,
Yeah.
iconic. And she plays it with such gusto, you know.
You can tell she's loving it. Makes her even more fun to watch.
This deep dive is making me appreciate the film on a whole new level.
It's more than just a classic.
A masterpiece.
Yeah.
Storytelling, filmmaking, performances.
It all comes together.
We haven't even mentioned Victor Fleming, the director.
Ah, yes. Victor Fleming, prolific director.
He directed The Wizard of Oz the same year as Gone with the Wind, right?
Talk about talent, vision. Two massive films, totally different, each with their own challenges.
Wow. He brought this grandeur to Oz, but kept it grounded emotionally.
Exactly.
Okay, mind blown again. So we've got the story, the music, actors, director, but it's how it all works together, right? That's what makes The Wizard of Oz so special.
It truly is. Captures the magic of cinema, you know?
Transports us, but reflects our own hopes, fears.
And it does it with heart, humor, visual spectacle.
I'm starting to think this might be the perfect movie.
Well, let's not go that far.
Yeah.
No film is perfect.
Even The Wizard of Oz?
Even The Wizard of Oz. There are flaws, you know?
Now I'm curious, what kind of flaws?
Well, some effects haven't aged well. Those flying monkeys.
Okay.
Bit hokey by today's standards. And some musical numbers, they drag a bit.
True.
Especially for modern audiences. We're used to faster pacing.
But those are minor things, right? In the grand scheme.
They are. The film's strengths far outweigh any weaknesses.
I agree. And even those flaws, they're part of the charm, almost.
Reminds us it was made in a different time.
Different tech, different way of thinking.
Exactly. Adds a layer of historical context.
Appreciate it for what it is, but still see its timelessness.
That's the key.
Okay, so we've got characters, themes, music, filmmaking, even acknowledge some flaws.
Right.
But what about its legacy? The Wizard of Oz has had a huge impact on pop culture.
Oh, massive. It's everywhere. Referenced, parodied, reimagined in other movies, TV, books, music. It's woven into our minds.
There's something about it that keeps inspiring, captivating us.
Everyone has their own connection to it.
Favorite character, a scene, the feeling it gives you.
It's that enduring power. Almost a century old and still relevant, entertaining, thought-provoking.
This deep dive has been eye-opening.
Yeah.
New appreciation for the film.
Glad to hear it. It's a film that rewards repeat viewings.
It really does.
You always find something new, a detail, a deeper understanding.
Time to wrap up this part of our dive. I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, I like that.
We've talked about Dorothy's journey being a metaphor for self-discovery, but
Yeah.
I think it's also a reminder we can all create our own Oz.
Our own magical world.
Yeah. Not literally escaping, but finding that wonder, that possibility in everyday life.
I like that.
Embrace our creativity, our dreams, believe in ourselves.
Beautiful.
And maybe, just maybe, if we tap into that inner magic, we can bring a little bit of Oz into the real world.
I love that. A perfect way to capture the message of the Wizard of Oz. That's a really neat idea, finding our own Oz.
Yeah, it's inspiring, right? We don't need a tornado or hot air balloon to experience those things.
Exactly. Wonder, adventure, it's all around us.
In the everyday, the connections we make, challenges we overcome.
The beauty we find.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we need to step outside our comfort zone a bit
Like Dorothy, right. Face those fears.
to appreciate what we have.
To find the magic in our own Kansas.
I love that. I keep thinking about how Oz is like Dorothy's creation in a way.
Yeah. It's one of the most fascinating things about the film, isn't it?
Blurs those lines between reality and fantasy.
Is it a real place? A dream? The film doesn't say, and I think that's what makes it so interesting.
It's a metaphor, right, for imagination.
But absolutely.
How our hopes, fears, experiences, they shape how we see the world.
And it makes you think about belief, If Dorothy believes she's in Oz, does it matter if it's real?
Whoa, that's deep.
It is. It's like our beliefs can shape our reality.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Connects back to self-belief too, right?
Totally. If we believe in ourselves, in magic, in wonder, maybe we can make those things happen.
Okay, you've convinced me. The Wizard of Oz is basically a philosophy lesson disguised as a musical.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
But it definitely makes you think, sparks these conversations.
And that's the mark of a classic, isn't it?
It is. Well, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into The Wizard of Oz.
I agree.
We've covered so much. Characters, themes, the music, the filmmaking.
Even the flaws.
Even the flaws. And explored the impact, the connections people have with it.
It's a film that keeps enchanting, inspiring.
Almost a century old, and it still resonates.
It really does.
I think it reminds us that even when things feel dark, there's always room for magic, wonder, hope.
Beautifully said.
So if you enjoyed this deep dive into The Wizard of Oz, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great movie reviews.
We'd love to hear your thoughts too, so leave a comment down below.
And until next time, keep exploring that magical world of cinema.